Hello, everyone, and welcome to this, extra special version of Game Reactor Live because we are starting up a little bit later here because PlayStation is about to take the stage with their 2021 showcase because, Gamescom has come and gone, but there wasn't any PlayStation there, so it's here where they are going to take the stage in about a half an hour's time and, show us what they got. Now, for the next half hour, we are going to be speculating and hoping and kind of discussing what we are going to be seeing. And for that, I am joined by Ben and Eric. So, hey gang, what is up?
Pleasure to be here as well, Dory. I like doing these events, having a little chat.
Yeah.
Seeing, throwing some ideas out there. Majority of them are usually wrong, I'd like to think, but, it's a thought that counts.
Yeah, but the ones that hit, those are the ones that you remember.
Yeah, you don't remember.
Now, before we get into talking about what we expect to see this year, I have to comment on your T-shirt, Eric, because that feels very fitting.
That's because it is. It's from the PlayStation Experience 2016. And we'll see some new games from some of these developers tonight.
Yeah, I mean, we see Aloy there. We're gonna see some more from Aloy, but what else do you got on there? Got some Uncharted.
I ain't saying
there.
shit.
So Naughty Dog. I mean, I see Call of Duty there. Of course, we're probably gonna see some more from Vanguard. I mean, recently they showed there was a multiplayer beta and stuff. Maybe
Another beta this weekend, I think, as well, isn't it?
Yeah, the PlayStation Beta is this week for PlayStation owners.
Yeah, it might be time for them to show us a little bit about the zombies.
Good point.
Yeah.
It's a good point. I mean, we're only, 6 or 7 weeks away from launch at this point, believe it or not? It
Yeah.
sounds crazy to say considering how late the announcement was for the game, but yeah, it's right around the corner. It still baffles me as well, though, that, Activision still has this really tight partnership or whatever with PlayStation. All these exclusive content that goes straight on PlayStation. It just still baffles me that that's the case. Like, sure, 6 years ago when the PlayStation 4 was killing it and the Xbox One looked just like, it just fell to the wayside completely. Like, I understand that, but now it's a different era, and I'm just kind of surprised that partnership still stands.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're remembering too short back in time because before the PlayStation deal, there was the Xbox deal, where stuff for Call of Duty was coming first to the Xbox 360 and then later to PS3, if at all. So yeah,
I completely agree. I just think it's a different era. I think we're sort of edging past that, that console exclusivity period. And the only people that are really holding on to that is obviously Nintendo because they do their own thing. But PlayStation, Xbox is sort of trying to move past that thing. That's what it feels like. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. PlayStation is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean,
Xbox could be another day.
that might be why. It's because Xbox hasn't come knocking on Activision doors and say, "Hey, we'll give you an even better deal." So they've just extended their deal with PlayStation. Anyway, Eric, I hate it when you leave me with teasers like that, and now I'm trying to figure out who more developers that are on your shirt, because I mean, there's Naughty Dog there. And I can't see what is that in the right corner?
This one?
Yeah.
That's Watch Dogs 2.
Ah, Ubisoft.
Why don't we start with Naughty Dog? Because I think Naughty Dog has got a few interesting things that... Obviously, this is all complete speculation. So there's a few certain things that we've all heard that are rumoured about Naughty Dog. I mean, we've heard rumours about The Last of Us... What are they calling it at this point? The Last of Us remake? Or whatever it is, where they're like redoing The Last of Us but bringing it to PS5, but it's also not quite the exact same as the original Last of Us or something along the lines. There's that. I think that's a little bit too early. I don't think we'll be seeing that at all. But the other thing as well that seems to be getting a lot of traction is this multiplayer game that Naughty Dog is supposedly working on, that they've been hiring a bunch of people for. They've been, I think what was the term they used, or that was used recently? Aggressively hiring more people for it. So it seems like they're really gearing up for it. So maybe we'll get an announcement for it. Obviously, it won't be like, this is the game, it's coming out in this date in 2022, but it might be something like, oh, this is the new project we're working on, so be prepared for this. I think that could be potentially in the card, should we say?
And what do you think that multiplayer might be? New IP, a mix of their previous IPs, or just a battle royale?
I hope not.
Uncharted.
100 Ellies are dropped onto Seattle, for that matter.
Yeah. I was gonna say a battle royale, Last of Us, but man, that would be a dark game.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting to see the headlines because Naughty Dog hasn't exactly been secretive about them making the Last of Us multiplayer. They announced it around, I think it was shortly before they announced the first release date for Part 2, that we're focusing on the single player experience now. The multiplayer or factions will come later, but it'll be more expensive than you might think. So they've been working on this quite hard for at least 3 years now. So them gearing up right now aggressively is a really good sign that they could drop it sooner than you might think.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of sticks in my head is like, for something that has been in development for this long and a project that has been scaling up, it seems, that might point towards that it has evolved into something else. That it started off as The Last of Us 2 multiplayer factions, and then now it's its own thing. But I don't know.
Come on, it would be awesome.
Who knows?
The different IPs of Naughty Dog together in a brutal multiplayer. Crash Bandicoot getting his head cut off of Abby or something just to throw more hate or her away.
Yeah.
And Spyro for that matter. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
I was just about to say, like, that would be my dream scenario if Sony had behind closed doors a couple of years ago gone to Naughty Dog and said, "Hey, Naughty Dog, go ahead and make All Stars 2." And do it right.
What about that Nickelodeon game that's coming out, the fighting game with all the Nickelodeon characters? Like, what about that with Naughty Dog cast?
Yeah.
A little 2D, well, not 2D, but you know what I mean, like a side fighter sort of thing, like Mortal Kombat. That'd be incredible, wouldn't it? Abby would obviously have top strength on that fighter. She'd be hard to take down. But I mean, that's what you get when you hit the gym like she does.
But yeah, let's swing it back a little bit to rumors that have been circulating in the last couple of days. I mean, if you have checked Twitter today, people have their hopes up, and usually when people get their hopes up this much, it usually is followed by a lot of people not getting what they wanted. I mean, the show is going to be an estimated 40 minutes. So the question is if it's going to be a razzle-dazzle Xbox E3 style, throwing out trailers and hear some stuff, or are they going to go a bit more in depth? Show some gameplay, developer talks, that stuff. Eirik, first to you. What do you think, like, the style of the show is going to be? I mean, they call it a showcase for a reason, but what do you think the tone is going to be?
I think the naming kind of says it all about this, because they use kind of the same kind of phrasing, this the description and such, when they had the Future of Gaming showcase last summer, and people seemed to enjoy that. I remember I'm being 10 out of 10 hyped for that one. I think they'll find some similar formula this time around, because they know that this is their response to the E3 extravaganza and Gamescom opening night live and stuff like that. But I also think some of the rumors have gotten out of hand lately, because Sony won't show all its cards just yet, because they know Xbox obviously has some really good cards in their hand as well. So I think some of the rumors are a bit too early, and I think Sony will save that until Xbox is ready to show State of Decay 3, Fable 4, and all that kind of stuff, because I think this as I said last year, I think this is basically a chess game. They're trying to counter each other every time. So this is basically just Sony responding. And I just say, even if I'm really excited for this show.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at what they are responding to, we're looking at Xbox at Gamescom, and that wasn't a fantastic showing. So does Sony need to come bursting out on stage, or can they, yeah, like you say, put on an intentionally middling show and just keep it simmering until, you know, they need to land the finishing blow? Well, who knows?
I don't think Sony has ever thought about doing that. I think Sony has two ways of doing a show, and it's either going to be we're going to focus all of our cards on one game. We might drop in a little bit of information about a couple of other things that are coming, but we're going to either focus all our efforts on this game. And this is what you're going to get in this state of play or whatever, or they're going to do what they're doing now, which is what they did last year, where they're going to give us a lot. They're going to give us a lot. It might not all be up your street, but I think they're going to show a lot of games. They're going to show a lot of things that are quite exciting. Like Eric said, I don't think we're going to see about things that are coming in 2023 or beyond or anything like that. Like 2022 is going to be a big year for Sony. It's going to be a big year for PlayStation. February's Horizon. We know that's coming. We expect God of War to be on the horizon as well. So chances are that's going to be there. We don't need to hear it. We don't, as much as we want to hear about it, we don't need to hear about Spider-Man 2 or whatever at this show. It doesn't need to be there. We know Insomniac are going to do it right. We know that it's going to be coming in the future. It doesn't need to be here today, so don't, if it shows up, great. But at the same time, if it doesn't, it's not a massive surprise, Sony knows that people want this to come at some point, so they're not going to just blow all the load right now and just fire everything out there and try and just blow Xbox out the water, because they know they don't need to do that. They know that they have things lined up in the future, and I think we're going to get a really entertaining show. It's going to be on the caliber, or it's going to attempt to keep up to the caliber to what Xbox did over at E3. A little less lengthy, obviously, but I think we're going to get a very entertaining show. That it's going to be maybe a better comparison is more of a Nintendo Direct at E3. That sort of showcase where we get a lot of information in a tight, concise package, and then we get to talk about it afterwards instead of really extending it and showing off this is what we're doing in 2025. You better be ready for it. I think that's the idea of this this future of PlayStation 5 showcase or whatever they're calling it.
Yeah, I mean, because they have been burned in the past by showing games off too early and then have to show them 2-3 years in a row, and they went away from that strategy 2 years ago. So first of all, two comments here in the chat. One, do you think we will see Fortnite? Yes, I think we will see something from Fortnite. Fortnite is everywhere. It's all encompassing. There's always Fortnite.
I think there's more to that as well. I think, wasn't there a recent deal that Epic did with Sony where they were bringing more characters to the Fortnite metaverse, whatever they're calling it? Like Aloy's in the game, Kratos is in the game. I think that's absolutely something that could be there.
Yeah.
That, and last year they said that Fortnite will go over to Unreal Engine this year. If plans haven't changed, Sony and Epic are good, let's call them teammates now.
Yeah.
Could be the place.
Yeah.
Ray traced Fortnite on the PS5? I think so. Gran Turismo 7 is the second question. What do you think the likelihood is of that countering Forza? Oh, okay.
I mean, Irik's already showed it there. I mean, let's be real, right? This game is coming again. This is going to be a game that's going to come in 2022 by the looks of things, right? We don't need an announcement to know that. I mean, if I had to guess, we're going to get Horizon in February, Gran Turismo around the middle of the year, and then God of War to really end 2022. That's what I would assume Sony are planning on doing. So it wouldn't surprise me if today we got an announcement date maybe, or an announcement window. It's coming in summer or something like that. It seems like it's there. I mean, we've already seen a bunch of the game. I mean, what more do they have to show about it that isn't going to just drive headlines and really excite us and all that? So that's at least my theory on it.
Mm-hmm. I want to get back to some of those Twitter rumors. Eirik, can you mention the top 3 out of this world rumors that you saw that are absolutely not going to happen? While you think about it, I'll start with one that I saw. PS5 Slim, hardware reveal. No.
No one can buy a PlayStation 5. What's the point of releasing another one?
put the PlayStation 5 Pro listing in there as well. Just even speculating about 2023, 2024 right now, when Sony doesn't even know when they have the regular PlayStation 5s in store. It's just ridiculous in my opinion, with all due respect to those who wrote about it. But talking about these specific details when Sony don't even know what kind of components they have in hand is just weird.
Yeah.
But talking about the other rumors, obviously we have, as Ben said, Spider-Man 2. We have the infamous project. We have what else do we have?
Men in Black.
We have Men in Black, of course. We have what did I see? Yeah, of course, we have God of War Ragnarok. Obviously, Cory Barlog hasn't exactly done that job any easier with his really mysterious gifts and stuff. Jesus.
Troll's gonna troll.
Yeah. The new Ed Boon.
Got another comment here on Twitch. Crash Bash. I think I am gonna wager 100% we're gonna see Crash Bash. Yeah.
Activision has already posted their blog today that they'll celebrate the 25th anniversary with some stuff, and they'll announce stuff very soon.
Yeah, there was a community post on the Crash Bandicoot community page on Facebook that said Crash Bash. That's it. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be seeing some Crash Bash.
What about, you think we'll see like a launch trailer or something for Kena? I mean, obviously it's not launching this week, it's launching in a couple of weeks, but I think we're going to see Kena there. And if I had to hedge my bets, probably Deathloop as well. It's PlayStation exclusive, we'll get another quick trailer. Just another thing to add to the list.
Yeah, the thing that they've already put out a very nice PS5 feature trailer. So, is it going to make another one, or if it's just going to be, the release trailer?
And
Buy our game. It's coming on September 14th. That sort of trailer.
Yeah.
And we obviously have Gearbox teasing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
Yeah, it's time to see that again. We didn't see that at all at the Gamescom, did we?
No, and didn't we see a snippet of gameplay either?
No.
So I want them to show why I teased that this game will be quite different from the other Borderlands games.
Do you not think that's a really unusual strategy from Gearbox, though, to announce the game at Summer Game Fest, not show anything at the Gamescom opening night, and then instead show it at PlayStation? That seems really unusual for Gearbox and 2K and whatnot, and whoever's working on this game.
Yeah, there will have been a nice semi-exclusivity deal happened at some point. I think if that's gonna happen. Like, you will save the gameplay for our event, type of thing, and here's all the money.
But a quick question for you guys. First of all, are you watching the stream now and listening to the music?
I mean, I do have it. Let me actually put it onto the stream as well, so we have it underneath. Actually, let me get somebody to monitor the stream, or let me know in the chat if it's too loud. Let's just get a little bit of.
Because it almost sounded a bit like Bear McCreary music in the beginning.
Ooh, okay.
He's doing the music for Call of Duty Vanguard. He did the music for God of War, of course. He does the music for The Walking Dead. Second question, though. Is it a coincidence that the sacred symbols are with diamonds, sparkly diamonds in it? Do you think? Just a coincidence, or there have been rumors about the special PlayStation Plus offering with now the Funimation and Crunchyroll and all that kind of stuff?
That is a good point, actually. I've heard rumors as well that there's going to be this little extra offering of PlayStation Plus that's going to be unveiled today. And let's be real. Again, I don't like to compare with Xbox when it comes to PlayStation, because everyone will say, oh, Xbox is setting the standards these days. But, like, PlayStation sell more consoles, PlayStation have more exclusive users and all that. PlayStation is still setting the standards. Xbox is doing their thing and they're doing it well, and it's great. But when it comes to the console market, PlayStation is still kind of ruling it right now. But what Xbox is doing over there with Xbox Game Pass and all that, like, it is ahead of Sony. It is ahead of what PlayStation's offering, and they need to step it up, because having PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now at the same time, I don't like it. So I think they need to do something there, and maybe this will be the first step towards that. I don't know. We'll find out.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed a lot of that. I was making sure that all the audio was set up correctly over here.
Ben and I was delivering some really good stuff, Dory.
Yeah. I'll then just be surprised during the show.
I think there's one thing though that we talked about PlayStation consoles a minute ago, and the PlayStation Slim or Pro or something seems just absolutely absurd. But what about like a new PlayStation 5 console edition? Like instead of having it in the big block white, do you think they'll release like, oh, here's a black PlayStation PlayStation 5 that you can buy, like what Xbox did with the Halo console? Do you think we'll get anything like that, like an exclusive console that's going to be lining up with, I don't know, maybe Horizon or something?
Yeah, I was just wondering, do you think Horizon is big enough to warrant a specially skinned PS5?
And close to Gran Turismo and God of War? Because one of the reasons why people were surprised that Xbox, or actually somewhat surprised that Xbox have as their special edition, is that it kind of puts it in the consumer's face. Hey, it's already difficult to get this console. Try this one, suckers. Like, it's kind of muddies the area, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, you already tried getting a console with hard mode on. Try it in hardcore mode.
Well, for that matter, what about a controller then? Because Xbox has did the same thing with the Halo controller, and we've already seen Sony dipping their toes in a new console market, new DualSenses. I say new; it's the same controller, it's just a different color.
Yeah, I think that's very likely that we'll see some custom controllers. It's all the rage these days. Getting either a custom skinned console so you can put it in a cabinet and never see it, or a controller that you also cover with your hands and never really see.
I always felt bad for the people that have walls of DualShock 4 controllers and all the different designs, knowing that they don't do anything on PlayStation 5, really. I feel so bad for those people.
Yet.
Good point.
Now, how much do you think the focus is going to be on? Like I said, a 40-minute show. How much do you think the focus is going to be on first party versus third party? Because can they fill 40 minutes with mostly first party stuff?
What's your definition of first party? As in Sony owned?
Let's put it as Sony owned. Yeah. And then let's talk about exclusive, and then third party that is multi-platform.
I think it depends on how long they focus on each segment, right? Xbox have done different showcases where they've shown like a 2-minute trailer of a game, and then they've gone and shown 10 minutes of another game. So it depends if Sony intending and doing something similar to that. I mean, I'm trying to think of the Nintendo broadcast where, I mean, granted they were all different games, but we had like a 10-minute block of Zelda right at the end. So it depends. Will we get something similar like that? Because that will obviously throw the proportions off. Maybe it'll be, this is all hypothetical, a 2-minute trailer on God of War and then a 10-minute block on Horizon or something. I don't know. I'm actually not too sure about that. I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
If it's gameplay segment, I kind of doubt they'll do Horizon again. Because even if it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months away, we've seen that game. I would be thinking that if they really want to get the hype, they'll do something like they did at E3 2017? No, 16 with God of War. Now ending the show like they started E3 back then with Corey or someone, don't know, with these digital ages, someone playing through a small portion of God of War a tiny portion to show a grown-ass, let's say boy, to avoid spoilers. Boy. Or more Gran Turismo gameplay, or like they did even as well back then, Days Gone getting a ton of gameplay segments or stuff like that. But 40 minutes, I think this will be chock full with maybe, let's say, to answer your question, news from 4 PlayStation Studios developers, and the rest Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Activision, Ubisoft, EA.
What about? Here's another thing as well, because the way they framed that blog post about when they announced this showcase, they sort of framed it as like the future of PlayStation 5. Now, obviously, Gran Turismo 7 is going to be PlayStation 5, but what else? Like, what else is going to be specifically PlayStation 5 that's shown off here? Because Horizon isn't, God of War isn't, right? I think they've already said
Gran
that God of War's
Turismo isn't either.
Is it not? They have. This is going to be a weird one, because then there's going to be. Surely they've got to have something. Surely that's going to be like, this is a PlayStation 5 game, through and through.
We have Firesprite, the announcement about them yesterday. They're already working on 2 projects, and I know that at least one of them is fairly close. Could unveil that, because they said again they'll show at least one of them again, the good old games industry, quote unquote, soon. Wow.
Yeah. Now, of course, we recently saw the Alan Wake remake announced. That is being published by Epic, if I remember correctly. Epic is buddy buddies with PlayStation. Did they mention anything during the announcement if it was going, like on what consoles it was coming to? Because, hey, maybe it is... did they? Well, what did they say?
All of them!
Well, okay.
Except for Switch, of course.
Yeah, because I was theorizing maybe it would be like, oh, PS5 console exclusive. We got a couple of comments here. First of all, Ben is asking, when does it actually start? In 3 minutes. 3 minutes. So we got a lot to go through in those 3 minutes, so let's talk fast. Anas on Facebook is saying, we'll see something from the Alan Wake remake. I think that's very likely, actually. The new God of War, the new Infamous game, nah. Horizon and Gran Turismo. Yes, maybe, no, yes, and yes. In that order. But yeah, I mean...
What about... You're forgetting about the small studios. Pixel Opus, Conquer Genie. Been 3 years since they did something. You know that Team Asobi is working on more Astrobot. That could obviously be saved for PlayStation VR 2. We have Studio Bend, even if it's quite early with their new IP. You know, Naughty Dog both has The Last of Us Remastered, the multiplayer, and a new IP. The new IP probably way too early, but hey, again, they showed a God of War Ragnarok icon last time, so
yeah. Now, Ben, the blog post announcing the showcase, in the wording, did they mention that it would be only software? Because the future of PS5 is like, are they going to show the VR headset?
No.
You know.
No, they've already said that VR2 isn't going to be here. We've already talked about PlayStation 5 consoles being probably not happening. Obviously, hardware does include controllers, so maybe there's going to be some like fancy controller you can buy, but if you're looking for VR2, PSVR2, it's not going to be there. It's actually not going to be there. They've said it isn't going to be, so temper your expectations on that one.
So, 30 seconds, last words before we go over to the show. And we, of course, will meet up after the show and critique it, as we tend to do.
Well, I just want to say, I'm really looking forward to the Spider-Man 2 announcement. I think it's going to be great. Really looking forward to this one from Insomniac. So, let's bring it on.
Yeah, and Silent Hill.
Oh, and Anna's saying he would love to see a sequel to The Order 1886. I mean, I would love to see that, but don't hold your breath.
You'll die, trust me.
But yeah, let's switch on over to the show. They're about to begin, and we don't want to miss a second of it. So we'll see you after the show.
Yeah, time. There's a secret code.
I'm Jim Ryan, President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, and welcome to the PlayStation Showcase. At PlayStation, we believe in pushing boundaries and setting the benchmark for creativity and excellence in entertainment. We always love the opportunity to speak directly with our community. The new technology in PS5 enables development teams to build more exciting, immersive and compelling worlds, showcasing their creative vision as storytellers. We've never been more grateful for the PlayStation community. So thank you for allowing us time to share some significant updates and brand new content. So without further ado, let's look at some new and amazing games.
Peace is a lie. That is what the Sith believe. They promise power. Now they wield it. We face the greatest Sith in generations. They must be stopped.
하늘에 계신 어머니시여, 저희는 지구를 지키지 못했습니다. 적들을 물리치고 인류를 구원하려는 신성한 의무를 다하지 못하였습니다. 하지만 이제 저희가 다시 내려와 남은 목숨 끝까지 바쳐 싸울 것을 맹세하오니 부디 저희의 죄를 사하여 주시고 저희를 거두어 주시고 저희를 유혹에 빠지지 않게 하소서. 지하 시설, 방공호 같은 건가?
여긴 지하철역이야. 사람들을 태우고 거미줄처럼 도시를 누비던 교통수단이지. 뭐 다 지난 얘기지만 말이야. 잠깐만. 네이티브가 시체에 기생하고 있다니. 내복이야! 그날 이후 지성의 도시들이 모두 예비처럼 폐허가 됐어. 잘나신 분들은 우주로 달아나고 나간 놈들은 이곳에 버려졌지.
마더스피어의 구원을 아직 기다리고 있는 거야.
이브, 조심해. 전방에서 뭔가가 곧 무너지겠어.
뭐 살살 가고 놀았지.
뭐야?
함정이다.
여기야!
당신이 왜 이곳에?
설마 이브, 저건 알파 네이티브야.
Darkness washes over the land. Dun dun dun. The Dragon Lord has returned!
Fools! Your party of heroes can't stop me!
Who's ready to rickety roleplay? Spoiler? It's you, baby. You know, some of you may be asking, Tina, why are there guns in a fantasy world? And I am just so glad you asked, because shut up your face and get shooting!
You ready, newbie?
Time for character sheets, baby! All right, trailer over. No end credit scene here. This ain't no super duper hero movie.
I'll let you in on a secret, but I'm a pretty big deal. Real big deal. We are getting out of the city, Homer. I promise we'll go somewhere that loves cats. No more fights. Clean air. Bright skies. What the actual fuck? Whoa, wait, stop! Whoa. Where on earth is this?
Africa?
Who's there?
And technically not Earth. Well, not what you would call Earth, anyway.
I swear to God, asshole, show yourself!
Show myself. I've shown.
Where are you?
Right here, at the end of your arm. Oh, hello, yes.
Okay, so let me get this straight. I'm somewhere that's not what I would call Earth. I'm seeing freaking dragons, and oh yeah, I'm talking to a cop. Did I just do that?
We did.
I just moved it with my freaking mind! Yeah, okay, that is something I do now. I do magic, kill jacked up beasts, I'll probably fly next.
No, you're just being ridiculous.
Oh, that's too far. Good to know there's a line. Our land suffers. You are the only hope we have. You're special. You're the one that's planning on facing off with Sylar.
Tanta Sila is the strongest and most formidable of all the Tantas. You will be doing our land a great service by killing her.
Frey. No name for a demon. I am the one you seek. The one and only Tanta Sila.
For decades, Team Rainbow has been the shield against the worst global threats imaginable. Hostage situations, biological weapons, the threat of nuclear war. But now, we face the greatest terror our world has ever known. We want a shot at tomorrow. We will move as one. We will think as one. We will do whatever it takes. As one. Together, we enter the unknown. Together, we fight for our future. And no one will be left behind.
It's coming for me. Whatever you do, don't go out in the dark. Stay in the light.
The Deerfest guests have already started to arrive. Just ran into one on the ferry. A famous artist, no less.
Alice? Alice? My wife, Alice, she's missing.
Calm down, Mr. Wick.
Last night I woke up to a nightmare. I was missing a week. What had happened to me? I squeezed the flashlight like my life depended on it. With it, I could save myself. I could save Alice.
Carl Stucky. Pleased to meet you.
My name is Alan Wake. I'm a writer.
Hey! Why? No!
Hello, Franklin.
What's up?
I gotta run now, okay?
All right, bye, babe.
It's lonely up here!
Simon.
There remains work yet undone. Critical work. People always decry the truth when forced to face it. Still your fear. I will be her salvation.
Mari!
The time is nigh. The world rests on the precipice of transformation. A new age will dawn.
Guardians of the galaxy. You came here seeking truth. A choice. The matriarch wishes to share it with you. United in the light of belief, all suffering, all grief will end. Oh! Ah! Ah! What's wrong with you?
Oh, I think I'm having a heart attack.
Cease this at once.
Fine. Cosmo! How you doing, buddy?
Grand Unifier Raker, leader of the Church of Truths.
During that ritual with the priest, they kept talking about a promise.
It was like they were drinking funky juice or something.
Or joined the cult.
So let us investigate for you.
Always catch, Peter Quill. And not fun kind with Bob.
Hey, World Mind, long time no see.
The current probability of defeating the
Universal Church of Truth is
0.3%.
Is that bad? It sounds bad.
It is.
I hope you've got one hell of a speech plan, Peter.
That makes two of us. Follow me!
Show ya who we are! We're Space Riders with no name. Take ya to the stars. Show ya who we are!
By rejecting the promise, you have proven yourselves unworthy, and you must be destroyed!
That was completely intentional. The Milano's on her way. Thanks, bud.
Welcome to the Eon program. Picture your perfect you. Your health, your enlightenment, your fashion. Not just freedom, we offer eternity.
Shut up.
Your esteemed visionary believes the only thing missing from Black Reach is you.
The Visionaries. 8 geniuses who painted up a prison and named it Freedom. Locked us all in one repeating day. Their eternity. An endless party that you can never leave.
I am a storm rolling. Round and round we shall go.
Place is supposed to be unforgettable. A bunch of spaced out science nerds, brainwashed cultists flinging bombs, whatever these guys are doing, all spewing Eon's bullshit. So how come I don't remember shit? This Party Island hangover is none my thing. My thing is answers. Who are these people? What do they want with me? And why is she always one step ahead? Come on, Colt. You gotta put this together. Somebody built this place. Somebody's sending me these messages from the future, the past, whenever. And some jackass wrecked every plane out here. Is this a contest for them? Some type of experiment? How does this time loop work? Does anybody remember? Why is everyone wearing a mask? What the black notes anymore? Who am I?
Colt, I want you to remember. I want you to remember why you came here.
Huh. Is that? Damn, I look good. I've imagined myself a way out. Gonna break this time loop before it breaks me.
kaloy chungna Philip Meapur.
Mea
Tupea muna nyawak. Iti yang azo ikuhu ni angage. Ano si Lota din niya napet?
Che Oriti.
The biggest pirate treasure of all time is within our grasp.
The Tusk of Ganesh? Now that's not an easy find.
Last I checked, we're all a bunch of thieves digging around where we shouldn't.
Hang on! Oh, crap!
Everyone obsessed with his treasure gets what they deserve.
Are you ready to seek your fortune?
I'm Herman Hulst, head of PlayStation Studios. PlayStation Studios, at its heart, is a diverse and passionate group of storytellers at our collective of AAA studios all across the globe. Everything we do is driven and inspired by storytelling. As creators, PlayStation 5 gives us the opportunity to push the boundaries of storytelling even further. Our world-class development teams at PlayStation Studios have already delivered such incredible gaming experiences for PS5, and we're only just getting started. As you'll see today with the lineup of exclusive games coming for PlayStation Studios, we're going to continue to drive innovation, advance gaming, while always embracing the legacy of PlayStation and creating games that matter. Games that you're not going to find anywhere else. Enjoy.
At the dark end of the street, that's where we always meet. Hiding in the shadows where we don't belong. Living in the darkness to hide our wrong. You and me.
as long as I can remember, I have looked for an equal. One who could push me. One who could surprise me. One who could even beat me. Yet all I found is disappointment. Will one of you finally give me what I desire? Yes, we will.
Time is running out. The prophecies say Fimbulwinter leads to Ragnarok. War is coming. My story doesn't end hiding in these woods. I should be out there, finding out who I am, who Loki is.
I will not allow you to pick a fight with gods.
I don't want to fight anyone. I just want answers.
And if those answers lead to war with Asgard,
maybe that's what Mother wanted.
we do not know what Mother wanted.
Well, I recognize that dour expression anywhere. Odin's got tricks up his sleeve we haven't dared to consider.
What if there was someone who could help us?
You mean Tyr, the old god of war in these lands, who is dead?
Well, for a dead man, Odin seemed pretty keen on seeing he wasn't found.
If he's out there, we gotta find him.
Come in. What in all yarns be the happened to him?
We're trying to stop Ragnarok, to help people. And what if the only way to do that is war?
War is not the only way.
Stop thinking like a father for a moment and start thinking like a general.
No! You seem like a calm and reasonable person. Are you a calm and reasonable person? In moments of crisis, panic does nothing. Harness it. Let it serve you.
Tyr!
Are you coming with us?
You'll get your answer soon enough. Well, some of them.
Unbelievable. Yes, yes, inconceivable. See myself as fairly reasonable, but at times I can be stubborn. So if I have to, I will rock the boat. I don't tend to take the easy road. That's just not the way I like to roll. True things probably unfeasible. I've done already a hundredfold. It's probable that I might press the envelope. Ideas so astronomical. Sometimes I find them comical. Yeah, incomparable. Replay value phenomenal. Beat selection remarkable. Slowing me down impossible. I don't rock no rollies. I don't hang around no phonies. I always advance. Say I fail, you know I stand. Raising the bar, I got experience. Top of the charts, I'm setting them clear. Pounding my stakes, I put on my tent. Shoot for the stars, they fall in my head. Stick to my guns, I don't even flinch. Can push all you want, ain't moving the next. I rarely miss, I'm happy I did it. Beat all the odds, I ain't got no limits. Gonna be stopped, you paying attention, I ain't gotta say it. They know where my head is, they know where my head is.
Well, I recognize that dour expression anywhere.
And that was the PlayStation Showcase. We've got more info and updates coming right now, and I'm in fact joined by no less than PlayStation Studios head Hermen Hulst. Hermen, really strong showing here from PlayStation Studios tonight, including an awesome new look at GT7 and finally a release date.
GT7 is coming in March, and I don't think fans are going to be disappointed with what Yamauchi-san and Polyphony have been working on. And what we're doing with GT7 is we're pulling from the entire history of the franchise, taking some of the best features into GT7. GT campaign, arcade missions, all that good stuff. And I got a chance to play, and it just looks and plays sensationally. The haptics, the vibrations, you feel the road, the pull and the weight of the different cars. I'll tell you, the one thing that I personally really liked is the braking variations through the adaptive triggers. That really kind of makes you feel like you're an incredible racer, and for me, that's great.
Great to hear that about GT7. I can't wait to play that, but I also really wanted to talk about Insomniac. I mean, this is a studio that is absolutely on fire the last year, maybe 18 months with Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, Ratchet & Clank, A Rift Apart, and now two big reveals tonight in the form of Marvel's Spider-Man 2 and Marvel's Wolverine. It's kind of a shock. You work really closely with Insom, Hermen, so what can you tell us about just why Insom gets so fired up about the Marvel Universe?
I mean, Sid, you said it, Insomniac are on fire. They've been just so productive, and I think the team in Insomniac, they're really always challenging themselves to raise the bar with their approach to storytelling and craftsmanship, and it's really evident in the consistently high quality of games that they've been delivering over the years. I think on top of that, they really prize collaboration amongst their team, and that collaboration that also extends to the way that they work with other PlayStation teams, but also their work with their great partners at Marvel. And that collaboration resulted in the amazing first two Marvel Spider-Man games. And I know that Insomniac are extremely excited to be further expanding the universe into Marvel Spider-Man 2 now. And they're also going to be raising the bar again, in terms of immersion, action, visual fidelity. I think Marvel Spider-Man 2 will be a spectacular showpiece for gaming. And they're also so thrilled to then bring gamers an emotional and a suspenseful journey into Marvel's Wolverine. I think that PlayStation fans are really going to be in for a treat over the next few years.
Very cool, very exciting times, and on multiple fronts. Tonight, we also got our first big look at God of War Ragnarok. Hermen, what can you tell us about where Santa Monica Studio is going with this one?
Like many of the fans, I'm personally really invested in the relationship between Kratos and Atreus. We got to see in the trailer that there's some real tension brewing between them as Ragnarok approaches, so I can't wait for players to see how that relationship between them evolves. And you gotta trust me when I say that Santa Monica Studio have prepared quite a few twists and turns for players as they set up the finale of the Norse saga in God of War Ragnarok.
We're gonna get an update on God of War Ragnarok from Santa Monica Studio here in just a moment. But before you go, Hermen, I wanted to get your take on Horizon Forbidden West. Now, we've learned that this one is coming out in February. I am sure that by this point you have played it. So what has jumped out to you? What can you tell us about the game?
I've had a chance to play the game on PS4 and PS5, and it looks great on both. For PS5, the level of detail on Aloy, her kit, her lighting, it's just exceptional. Even more amazing because the environments have so much going on too. From the ruins of San Francisco to those new underwater areas, everything just looks breathtaking. And it loads really fast because of the SSD. Plus, the combat in the game offers so much variety. It's all based on player choice. There's so many cool weapons and tools, and when you combine these together, that comes in really handy when you're dealing with the new machines. On PS5, the haptic feedback on the controller, I think in my mind really adds to the experience, when you're firing arrows and the other ammo. The team at Guerrilla, I know them so well. I'm super proud of them. They're creating something incredibly special, and I just can't wait for gamers to get the next chapter of Aloy's adventure in their hands.
Thanks for the update, Herman. We're joined now by Eric and Corey from Santa Monica Studio, and I wanted to check in with you two on the big announce we saw just a few minutes ago, God of War Ragnarok. We finally got our first big look at it. And actually, Eric, I wanted to start with you. You've been involved with every single God of War, including 2018's God of War. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Sid. I've been with the studio since 2004 in many different capacities, working with both Santa Monica and Ready at Dawn on the God of War franchise. And I don't know why, but they thought it'd be a good idea to say, hey, do you want to direct this one? And so that's what I'm doing. I'm directing God of War Ragnarok, or as Corey likes to call it, never heard of it. So that's the update on that.
So Eric, why the shift in leadership on God of War Ragnarok?
It's always been a tradition here at Santa Monica to change the directors across the games. We've had really good success with that. Corey's been the only repeat director, and rightfully so. He's pretty damn good at what he does. So that's kind of what it is.
The important thing for us is to be able to kind of get a fresh perspective each time, but also, a fresh pair of legs in the sense that you're really exhausted at the end of finishing one of these things. So you got to con somebody else into doing it, like him.
So Eric, what aesthetics or themes sort of resonate with you as a creative? I mean, I guess what I'm getting at is how do you see yourself leaving your fingerprints on God of War Ragnarok?
It's kind of the designer in me wants to answer one way, but as a director, you have to answer a different way. I think you have to learn how to jettison your own profession when you switch over to the director's role, which I'm sure Corey can understand. I mean, he kind of animated a little bit on God of War 2, and we kind of had to throw it all out, except for that sneaky backflip that Kratos has never done again that we left in. But that's the perk of being the director, I guess. But from my point of view, we want to tell a very heartfelt and epic story as, a father and son go on a journey, and they kind of struggle with holding on to stuff and letting go of things. It's a very difficult kind of human condition that we all deal with. And we kind of want to arrive at that by taking slices of life or family, drama, if you will, and kind of juxtapose that against big Norse backdrop. And, at the end, we just want to have an ending that feels very, surprising yet inevitable based on all those things. But it's kind of, I'm from the Midwest, so slice of life, very common, mundane things are just as interesting as big world events. And so we try to collide those things together to, make an experience that's very worthy of the God of War name.
So with the game officially being called God of War Ragnarok, I guess it doesn't take a genius to think that perhaps Ragnarok factors into this game in some manner. Can you confirm that, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, you can't call the game God of War Ragnarok and not have Ragnarok happen in the game. So, it's going to happen. We're going to cap off the Norse series with it. And I think Chris Judge said it best in the announced trailer last year. Prepare yourselves.
The last game ended with a teaser of sorts for Thor. And I just got to know, was that Thor's voice we heard in the trailer just a few minutes ago?
That was definitely Thor's voice that we heard in the trailer. Thor is being played by Ryan Hurst, which you might know him from Sons of Anarchy. He played Opie, one of my favorite characters ever. And we're just delighted to have him come play in the God of War sandbox. And his take on Thor and our take visually on Thor is very different than the hunky Australian you might know. He's much closer to the Norse mythology version. He's this big, burly, almost hedonistic man-child, red hair, left-handed, just a little off-kilter than the Thor that a lot of people know right now. So I can't wait for people to experience more of that when the game's done.
We also heard the name Odin in tonight's trailer. So I imagine if we're going to experience Ragnarok, Odin's going to have to play a pretty big role here, right?
Definitely. I mean, Odin is the Allfather of all the realms, so he's going to show up when Ragnarok happens. We're very, very happy to have Mr. Richard Schiff come on to play Odin for us. You may know him as Toby from The West Wing. This was one that we never thought was going to happen. It was like kind of a shot in the dark, and he got back to us, and we walked him around the mocap volume, and he was just like, I've never done anything like this before. Let's do it. And so the kind of rest is history. So I can't wait for people to experience that and see how he factors in. And it's a very different take, again, much like Thor. You know, he's like a old man who's just kind of busy with his own things and doing whatever he wants. And he doesn't live in a castle or anything like that. So it's again, a different take, kind of what we do. We just take what's known and curveball it a little bit and, make it special.
We also saw a couple of new characters tonight. So what can you tell us about them?
Are you talking about the little squid? Oh no, you're talking about Tyr. Tyr, the big guy. Yeah. He's the Norse god of war, and Kratos and Atreus have finally found him. We talked a lot about him in 2018, so we were like, well, we might as well show him to the people. And then the last character we saw at the trailer, like with the little wink and smile from Angrboda. She's one of the last remaining giants, and her story is pretty amazing and how it fits into the world of God of War. Tyr is being played by Ben Prendergast, who's been completely absorbed in the role, even though he is not a giant as Tyr is. And then Angrboda is being played by Leia de Leon Hayes, who's a complete treasure on set. She's been amazing. Watching her chemistry with the other characters has been amazing. And she's one of the last giants that's living. So we have those characters and a few more. And, there's a lot of different monsters you saw in there. And there's been so many talented people at the studio building this trailer and putting it together. I just want to give a shout out to the team. I love you guys. I wish you could be here doing this interview with me. I wish you were all behind me right now at the studio. That would have been completely amazing. And, lastly, to our fans, we have a saying at the studio that we are fans of our fans. And I cannot wait to watch all the tweets, the messages, the reaction videos that you guys put out, and our team to be able to take that into heart and just get excited and hyped, and then use that to push us through to finish the game for you guys. So thank you very much.
Now, Corey, we haven't heard a whole lot out of you here tonight. So now that we know you're not directing God of War Ragnarok, I was hoping maybe you could give us a little clue about what you may or may not be working on next.
Oh, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You'd like me to just spill the beans and tell you everything that's going on right now. We're actually doing a bunch of stuff. It's really exciting, all the things that we're doing, and you're tempted to know what is this, but I don't really have anything I can talk about right now specifically, mostly because we're really focused on God of War Ragnarok, that I am incredibly excited that I finally understand that that's what everyone was saying, God of War Ragnarok. I was way off. I was thinking it was something else that they were talking about. I think we'll wait to get any deeper into anything else until later. We'll talk again, Sid.
All right. Well, thank you, Corey, and thank you, Eric. And next up, we have Ryan Treadwell. He's the lead producer at Aspyr. And wouldn't you know, just a little while ago, we got the announcement of a remake for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. So, Ryan, I guess my question is this like a remaster of the original?
Well, there we go. We played a little bit of Sony's post-show here because, in all honesty, I was waiting for them to actually give us the release date for God of War Ragnarok. But when they didn't give it to me, well, then we're cutting in. And actually, what they're talking about right now is kind of what they started the show with, and something that Eirik has been teasing but not willing to just tell us full out, and that is KOTOR Remastered.
I've written about it.
But you didn't say, oh, it'll be on this show. Did you? Did you? We talked for half an hour?
No. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean,
that was a great way to kick the show off, though, wasn't it?
Indeed.
Super exciting one. I didn't expect it. Obviously, Eirik did, but I didn't expect it.
But I mean, so Aspyr is working in conjunction with Lucasfilm Games, bringing it out. And did they mention at all if it's solely for the PS5? Because I've only seen the PS5 mentioned.
They're only confirming PlayStation 5 tonight.
Well, and it is only KOTOR 1, right? They're not, doing everything at once, are they?
No,
it's a remake.
Yeah.
There's a blog post that's out, that says it's a launch exclusive on PlayStation 5. So if it says launch exclusive in the blog post, that probably means that Xbox players aren't going to get it anytime soon, or there's going to be like Deathloop, you know, it's going to be a year or something on PlayStation before it hits thingy. Haven't actually read into this too much, by the way. This is me trying to learn about it on the fly, so take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. But it is that is what it's mentioned in the blog post.
Yeah, as soon as they say console launch exclusive, that means it will be coming. First of all, on PC at the same time, but then on other consoles later, basically. But let's there was a lot that they actually showed. I was actually pleasantly surprised by how much we actually got to see. Wait, let's go over here because the post show is over, so we can speak freely. So next up was Project Eve. Which I thought it was called Parasite, or was I mixing two things together? Eirik, you were, of course,
I think they
deeper.
called it Parasite Eve when they announced it back in 2019.
Yeah, it's just
but
weird.
I guess they realized that it's not user or what's the terms search optimized term.
Yeah, but it's Project Eve. That's usually the title that you give to a game. Like when you don't know what the title is going to be, right?
Yeah, maybe it's not called Project Eve either. They could change their mind.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it doesn't feel like a very smart move, giving a new IP 3 different names before it comes out. But okay, but it looked great.
I mean, any game where you can slice up octopuses with a katana seems like a pretty good game if you ask me. But I'm sold.
Yeah, I mean,
I checked on Ben's box,
and it felt. I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking Bayonetta while watching the trailer. Kind of reminded me of that for some reason. I don't know if it was the combat, the female lead, or the whole Japanese aesthetic. It's weird when you try to explain to somebody like what the Japanese aesthetic is. But you can put all the Japanese trailer next to each other, and it's like, yep, those are all Japanese, right?
No, it's
I was
funny you
thinking.
mention that.
Sorry.
So you go, Eric. I'm just gonna say the exact same
I
thing.
was just saying that I kind of thought the same thing when I saw Gran Turismo. You kind of see the difference between Gran Turismo and Playground. It's almost the Japanese games are kind of too realistic, too kind of modernized in a way. You can see that it's something iffy about Japanese games. I can't quite put the word on it, but you can see that it's something fake about it in a way, but it's still very pretty. Very, very pretty.
Yeah, and I mean, we had Lit J Foxen in our chat saying like, once the show was over, or once the trailer for Gran Turismo 7 was over, it's like, can't they give us a release date? Not like I'm excited or anything. And then in the post-show, they gave us that it's coming in March 2022 to the PS5. No mention.
Calm, Daniel. You'll get to review the game. Calm down.
Yeah, no mention of. Is it going to be released on PS4 as well in some capacity, or is it just?
Yeah, it is
PS5
coming to PS4 as well.
Yeah, it's just.
I don't think they mentioned that.
Now, I mean, it kind of makes sense. The showcase is the future of PlayStation, and they want to focus on the new platform. But I feel like it's important to mention that, PS4 players will also be able to drive around. But you kind of went a little bit out of order. I like taking things one by one. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. We pretty much said that it was for sure going to be there, and it was. And now, Eirik, when you kind of broke the news, which was shared all over the world, that there would be coming a kind of different type of Borderlands game, and then once they showed Tiny Tina Wonderlands off at Gamescom, we were still like, okay, so how is it different? Well, we saw a little bit in the trailer just how different it is. Can you now finally move your lips and make sounds come out of everything that you've been holding back this entire time?
Well, they didn't show everything, so I can just say a bit at least. It's more let's call it magical focus. As you could see, you got more melee weapons with like the flying swords. There's a bit more. What's could you say?
I mean,
Fantasy nature, isn't it?
Yeah, what struck me was the switch in viewing angles as well. It wasn't all first person. It was also kind of isometric, reminding me a lot of old school Final Fantasy JRPGs in the fact that you were kind of moving around in this overworld world, and I don't know, maybe
Characters have like bobbleheads as well, don't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Really
exactly.
unusual.
Yeah, from what I hear, it's kind of if you play. I think you've played Nier Automata, haven't you, Dory? I've heard that they're trying something like that. That it's kind of different types of gameplay depending on what kind of mood Tiny Tina is in and stuff like that. So that's kind of what you got a taste of here, I think.
Yeah, so like that kind of fits right into the feeling that I got is that Tiny Tina is sort of the dungeon master, if you will, of this Borderlands D&D. So it makes sense when Tiny Tina is a little bit crazy, if you will. So as the mood strikes her, not just the aesthetic of the world can change, but actually like the gameplay. I'm excited to see more. It's like as soon as the trailer was over, it's like, but I wanted to see more.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think Borderlands is one of those games series for me that is just, I love it. I've played every Borderlands game. Well, I've played every Borderlands game and loved all of them, aside from the pre-sequel, which did some weird things that they didn't really sit with me right. Like, I didn't like the whole oxygen thing and all that. Didn't really do it for me. But the point is, I like Borderlands. I really do like this as a series, and this game just looks like more of that. It looks like more of Borderlands, but with a slight little fancy different twist that's going to set it apart and make you go, oh, like maybe we'll love it. Maybe it'll be really, really interesting. Maybe it'll be a similar situation to pre-sequel where it just doesn't quite hit right and we sort of chalk it off as a Borderlands that happened. But either way, it's nice to see that they're trying something new with this series, because otherwise we're just going to get to the point where it's every Borderlands comes out, it's the exact same thing, and by the time it's Borderlands 6, we go, oh, okay, it's another Borderlands game. Great.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not long to wait. It's March 25th of next year, so I mean, it's not right around the corner, but it's sooner than I thought. Yeah, I love Borderlands games, and I love Tiny Tina, but I'm not sold yet. I need to see more. Forspoken. I hadn't heard about that before.
It was called, I need to go test my knowledge, Project Aethia, I believe, beforehand, and then it got renamed in the Summer Game Fest, I think it was, to Forspoken. And granted, what we saw whenever it was last year, which I think was Summer Game Fest, but I might be wrong on that, looked completely different. Like, it looked completely different to what was shown today. Like, this game looks way more action-packed and action-focused, and what we saw beforehand was a bit more sort of like, you're in this world and you're running away from everything. Everything's trying to kill you. Whereas this game looked, again and again, we use this term sort of loosely, that sort of like Japanesey sort of vibe where there's a lot of, just sort of sword slashing and all that, and lots of colours and lots of things on screen and all that. I don't really know what to say about it either myself. I'm not too sure what I think about it right now.
But Eric, do you know? Did you catch like who is the developer behind it? Because, like I said, that one came kind of out of left field for me personally.
It's Luminous, the Final Fantasy 15 developers.
Okay.
It's the really big thing from Square Enix. They're comparing this to Final Fantasy X, Final Fantasy 15 in terms of the budget and the focus from Square Enix. So I'm kind of excited for this game because they've been talking a lot about the traversal system, which the first trailer really focused on. Which are basically flying through the trees. You saw some glimpses of it in the trailer today, on top of the more Final Fantasy in the action combat system, stuff like that. So it kind of got my interest because it seems like they really want to. I think even the producer said it earlier this summer that they're trying to do something really different with the open world formula and really seeing what let's call it the genre, can do on the new consoles.
Nice. And that got the launch window of spring 2022. So yeah, we're gonna be seeing more of that game soon. Rainbow Six Extraction was shown off a little bit. Now, Ben, me and you, we both played it not that long ago on PC, but just looking at that trailer, it's definitely been in the oven a little bit longer. I have to say it looked... a lot of the elements looked better in this trailer than they did when we played it. Not to say that it looked bad when we played it, just it looked more mature.
I mean, yeah, great. You know, when we played it was... I mean, it was supposed to come out in October, and when we played it was back in, like, I don't know, June or something like that, maybe May. So it was already quite early before its release date. But one thing I will say about that trailer, and I guess this is me being a little bit picky, is that I remember there's a lot of that trailer that was already parts of other trailers. You know, like even the bit at the start with Ash in the helicopter flying over New York, we'd already seen that, like, a bunch of times. So it's the sort of trailer like what we got with Far Cry over Gamescom, where it's like, this game's coming, keep an eye out for it, but it doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't make me think like, oh my god, this game is going to be amazing. I just think like, oh yeah, another Rainbow Six trailer. Cool. Yeah. Maybe we'll see something more interesting in sort of like, I don't know, November, December, when we get really close to that launch window or date.
Yeah, I think I might actually make a video on Game Reactor soon where I do like a side-by-side, because I feel like even though it's the same scenes, I think they had made some changes, some upgrades in visuals, and like in the enemies getting through the wall and stuff. It looked a little bit nicer. But
I do agree. I think that the game that we played was kind of rough around the edges in that it didn't really make all that much sense. You know what I mean, Dory? Where like it was Rainbow Six, but it had this sort of stealthy approach to it. But the stealthy approach never really felt like it was there. It was more just gun your way through the people that are there and hope that you don't get overwhelmed. So it'd be interesting to see if they're sort of gearing even further towards that stealthy approach come launch, or whether they've even like pulled it back a bit further and they've gone and leaned towards that more of a horde mode, which is what, you know, with all the things smashing through walls and stuff, seems like the way that they're gearing it up to be.
Yeah, and actually make it make sense that you are playing the operators from Rainbow Six Siege with all their abilities, because it felt like a lot of them weren't very useful. And but anyway, that's January 2022, and then they went over to Alan Wake Remastered, which I also said would be there, but I believe I called it a remake in the pre-show. It is a remaster, as you could very well tell from the trailer. Yeah, the faces are still like, yeah, okay, this is what was it, 2010. But I'm still excited for it, because Alan Wake is one of the best games of all time. So,
and PlayStation players will finally get to experience that.
10 years later. No, I agree. I actually have never played Alan Wake. I mean, granted, when Alan Wake came out, what was that, 2011? The first game? That would have been, I don't know, I would have gotten, that would have been my first, the first like big console that I bought for myself would have been an Xbox 360 around that time, and it would have been, I don't know, I would have been like 12 years old, so I kind of missed the boat on that one a little bit. So yeah, it does look good. I can't say I'm that excited about it still. I don't really care for playing remastered games all that much. I like to, you know, move forward. But yeah, it looks better.
Yeah, but you just articulated why it is time for the remaster, because it is one of the best games of all time, and there's a whole host of people that now have a PS5 that have never ever played it. So
if we were being picky though, and they really wanted to do it right, would a remake not have been the way? I mean, granted, a remaster is far less effort to make than a remake, but if they want to do it right and really like, oh, Alan Wake's back, I kind of feel like they went the wrong path.
100%, all day, every day. I would have preferred a remake, but you know, you take what you get. Coming October 5th, Ghostwire Tokyo got a cinematic trailer and no date, and I still don't know what that game is about.
Nope, me neither.
So. Cool. Guardians of the Galaxy. It still irks me for some reason. and I can't justify it. It's just a feeling that I have that the characters don't look like they do in the movies.
I see it. I do see what you mean. But do you know what actually really changed my opinion on this? And I'm not kidding. Was the Black Panther expansion to Marvel's Avengers. Like, I'm not kidding. I really like the design of T'Challa in that. I really, really like it. And it's made me appreciate the other designs a bit more. I'm not going to go and say that I think the way that Star-Lord looks with his massive mohawk or whatever he's rocking, no, quiff or whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to go and say that I think that looks great. But I'm not going to go and say, I'm not going to go and slate it like what I originally thought when they showed off Marvel's Avengers and it looked like Iron Man was wielding the Mark I suit on the bridge. That's all I'm going to say there. I'm going to be a little bit lenient about it this time around, I think. A little bit more open.
Yeah, like I said, I consciously know that I shouldn't make a big deal out of it. But just in my heart of hearts, it's like, I wanted Chris Pratt to be there. But yeah, let's do a speed run until we get to the ladder.
Here about the pacing of the show though a little bit, like how we started off with these big announcements, then for like 20 minutes there was just trailers and stuff of games that they didn't really show anything really. It was just it's a trailer.
Yeah,
I'm not going to tell you anything good in this trailer. It's just a trailer.
Yeah, and all third party until we got to the end where it was Sony.
And it picked up again. Yeah. Bang.
But yeah, we got Blood Hunt. PS5 coming this year. I think Blood Hunt looks great, and I mean it is in early access on PC right now, so you can check that out already. Deathloop, they did show a trailer for that. It is right around the corner, and then they threw in a wrench with Kid A. Kid A Amnesia. Radiohead basically getting a like a museum tour of their music and artwork and stuff, and all of a sudden I need to buy a PS5. And then they showed off Chia. Yeah, it's inspired from one creature to the next. Very cartoony, and yeah, I mean the trailer didn't tell me a lot about what sort of game it was. Did you get a better grasp of what it actually is, Arik?
Ubisoft Wild sure looks different.
Okay. And then they dropped the Uncharted 4 Lost Legacy remaster coming to PS5 and PC. I can already hear the PS5 fanboys yelling, "How dare you bring the exclusives to PC as well?" And to that I say, I'm going to be playing it on PC.
I do think it's a little unusual the way they've done that though, because you know we've had, I can't think of the director's cut before, but we have Ghost of Tsushima already this year. We've had Death Stranding coming up relatively soon. It's weird though that they haven't done like an Uncharted director's cut, right? And they've gone straight into this sort of Legacy of Thieves collection on PC. Especially considering we got Days Gone as well recently. Like, you know, I think that's a little bit unusual the way they've taken that.
Yeah, I'm just pretty sure.
The reason one of the reasons for that is that Sony's philosophy about the director's cut is it's supposed to include new content, which is why people more expect to get The Last of Us Part 2 director's cut along with the factions multiplayer and maybe something more. While Uncharted is left behind, basically.
And also doing a remaster for a new system, the longer it has been since it was developed, you know, the further you have to dig to make it happen. Like going back to the first Uncharted, and it's like, oh, it's going to be more work getting it up to speed for PS5. But then here is where this show picked up for me, because they went into and talked about what the Sony studios are actually doing, and then
people yell at us. We forgot about Ghostwire Tokyo. Just a quick update from Bethesda there as well. Both Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo.
I did.
Because I think Ghostwire Tokyo was.
Yeah. Huh? I did mention both, but Okay.
Oh, my bad.
We
my bad.
decided to just move past them because we still don't know what the game is.
Yeah, they,
Oh, sorry. That was sorry. I couldn't hear the game you were mentioning.
yeah,
My bad.
they just didn't say anything new. We showed off a cinematic trailer, no date. Okay, it's still Ghostwire Tokyo. Fantastic.
And let's go to PlayStation Studios.
Yeah, like I said, the show really picked up for me and then kind of went down again because what they showed from the first party studios was way out. Like very short announcements, and like I said, we were talking that they had moved away from this trap of showing something too early and then have to re-show it again and again and again. But that's what they're doing because, although I have to say I'm excited, Insomniac doing a Wolverine game.
Oh, Insomniac are killing it. But before we talk about that, this whole strategy they just used in that showcase of doing all these reveals and then taking 20 minutes afterwards to just talk about a couple of games and even announce the release date of Gran Turismo in that instead of in the trailer, right? What is that? I'm sorry, that is
I
really
blame
stupid.
you, Ben. You said, "Oh, I hope this is like a Nintendo Direct at E3." Treehouse? Ever heard of it?
That's a good
That's
point.
your
That's a good
fault.
point. I was sitting there saying that Sony are the ones setting the standard still in consoles, and it turns out it is Nintendo that are doing it. Everyone wants to be like Nintendo. But anyway, yeah.
I mean, they nailed the format 5 years ago, and now everybody's catching up. But yeah, Wolverine from Insomniac, they showed, I mean, absolutely nothing, but I still think I'm gonna love it. Even though it might fall into that very same trap that I talked about earlier, that, it's gonna be a new Wolverine likeness.
The only thing you can take from it, though, is that if this was like any other developer, you'd be a little bit like, okay, early announcement here. But Insomniac has so much credit. Like, everyone loves Insomniac because they do such good work that you look at it and go, okay, like, this is exciting. This is really, really great. They're doing a Wolverine game, and then they're doing the other one, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Like, it's hard not to be excited because you just expect Insomniac's games to be so good. But if this was anyone else, like, Ben's studio is supposed to be working on something. They haven't exactly told us what they're doing. But if this was, Ben's studio working on a Wolverine game, you'd probably go, maybe we should have held off on this one a little bit, right? And announce it when it's, like, got something to show?
Yeah. Yeah, true. I mean, the Insomniac hasn't had a misstep yet. So until they do, bring it on. Right?
But with both you and me being, let's say, up in the ages, Dory, we might remember Raven Software's Wolverine game. Do you hope this is kind of like that kind of brutal, or do you expect Insomniac to kind of tone it down like Spider-Man and more?
Well,
let's call it youth-friendly.
The answer to that is twofold. First, what I expect. Yes, I expect them to tone it down, and it's going to be more akin to Spider-Man. What I hope for is, fuck no. I mean, Insomniac has... I mean, it's time for them to bridge the gamut. They make kid-friendly games with Ratchet & Clank. They've done Spider-Man, which everybody can play. Give us Wolverine with blood and gore. Come on.
I think this is similar to the whole argument with Insomniac being so, high credited. Wolverine is one of those superheroes where you sort of expect a mature game, right? If this was like the Hulk, right? A Hulk game, you'd go, okay, it's probably going to be like a Spider-Man sort of level of maturity. It's probably going to be, a lot of action, but not much really going on. But when you think of Wolverine, especially the way that Wolverine's been portrayed over the last few years in movies and stuff, you expect quite a gritty game, right? You expect quite a gritty performance. Like, obviously, Logan was a really, really gritty film. But even when we look at the most recent major X-Men movies, Days of Future Past, and all that, like, Wolverine gets some stuff done to him that's pretty grim. Like, if we don't get that sort of stuff in this game, I think it's going to sort of hit the mark, well, miss the mark a little bit. Not that it's going to be a bad game, but I think we have that expectation from it, right? I
mean, it is hard to have a toned-down game when your lead character's main weapons are blades coming out of his hands. And also, when you look at that trailer itself, there was like this kind of dark, gritty tone to it. And I felt like Wolverine did feel a bit old in it. So is it approaching the Logan era of Wolverine? Well, one can only hope. But we'd already talked about Gran Turismo 7, which also got a release window in the post-show, which was weird, because then they didn't do the same for God of War Ragnarok, which is,
I think
how
it
dare
got a
you.
release date, believe it or not. I think it was March 4th,
Oh,
2022.
it was a firm date, yes. My notes
For
are
Gran
out of
Turismo,
order.
that is, not God of War.
No. I mean, now that would have been newsworthy. But yeah, then the other Insomniac game that they're working on, Spider-Man 2, which 2 Marvel games at the same time? Obviously in different stages of development, I would say, from the trailers at least. But Spider-Man 2 with 2 Spideys, Venom in there. I mean, there were a lot of hints and teasers in the trailer.
It's a tough one again because we know that Spider-Man 2 is filming right now, right? Because the main guy who plays Miles Morales, can't remember the actor's name, but they have him all. They have that picture of him all in mocap and all that, and it seems like they're filming the game, right? Or I say filming, capturing the game, whatever they do in the mocap machines. I don't really have that knowledge. So it seems like they're getting there with development. And if it's coming in 2023, we can probably expect Wolverine to be a couple of years later at least, or like a year later. Like if Spider-Man's set for 2023, Wolverine won't be coming before 2024, right? Surely not. But the one thing that kind of like I have to ask the question with Spider-Man is that when we played through Spider-Man 1, we got so many villains, right? It was the Sinister Six, and there was all these different villains: Doc Ock, Electro, Scorpion, or whatever his name is, all these different things. And at the end of the game, they teased all these different other villains as well, right? You know, the Green Goblin, or I guess maybe Red Goblin, Green Goblin? I can never remember which was which in the Spider-Man universe. But Harry Osborn's in that big tub of acid or whatever he's in, just chilling. And it looks like he's going to be vital to the game at some point. And if he does, that means that Goblin's probably going to be showing up. So are we going to get that similar situation where there's a double batch of Spider-Man? So there's going to be this like horde of enemies they have to fight, horde of bosses they have to deal with. Because if it's just Venom compared to Spider-Man 1, that's going to feel like a little bit of a letdown, right?
Yeah, I'm guessing they might actually go with like a multiverse approach. I mean, it was a huge hit for Into the Spider-Verse, having Spider-Man's dealing with different versions of enemies and each other. But then again, that's maybe just what I would have done, but who knows? But, I mean, that is coming in 2023. So, I mean...
That's kind of what surprised me, because I was as direct as answer a Norwegian reader. He basically asked if they were going to show Spider-Man 2. And I said no, even if I knew the trailer was done, because I expected this at the Game Awards at the earliest. Because I knew about Wolverine, I knew that it was going to be shown today. So I didn't think that they'd actually take the focus away, at least in my mind, from Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Because I think Sony has done that lately. It's kind of, again, they probably have more research about this than me, but I think people now will start talking about Spider-Man 2. Oh, I'm looking forward to that, blah, blah, blah. And now kind of forgetting about Spider-Man, Miles Morales, and Ratchet & Clank until they're on sale or something. So I kind of think it's weird for them to now double up once again after doing the same with Miles Morales and Rift Apart.
I think if I have to hazard a guess, I would guess that their internal stats are saying that every single person that owns a PS5 has now already bought and played through Ratchet & Clank and Miles Morales. So there's not a lot of first-party games available on the platform yet. So
fair enough.
Maybe it's just like, oh, everybody that has it has already played it. And I'm guessing people that will buy it will get those games with it and then look forward to the games coming up. But let's move on to the finale, which is God of War Ragnarok. And the main news there is, well, Tyr and we got to see some more giants. The voice of Thor, whose actor's name escapes me right at this moment. But the big news is that it has a new director, Eric Williams, who has been at the studio since 2004, is now the director of God of War. So the era of Cory Barlog being back is, well, I mean, he's studio head still, but
it's an interesting one though, because I think we were having a discussion about this somewhere in Game Reactor internally about Sony's ability to do multiple projects with their studios, right? And how it was like, oh, Naughty Dog does this, or Naughty Dog seems to have a couple of things in the works, and so does Insomniac, but it doesn't really seem like any of the studios can do this multiple project thing, which I think it was when Men in Black was first rumored. We were thinking, who's going to be able to do this? But it's now been sort of revealed in that sort of post-show segment that Santa Monica are also doing the same thing, right? They have a team working on God of War Ragnarok and getting that sorted now, and then they have whatever Corey's team is doing as well, because Corey might not be the director of this game, but he's doing something else that he won't talk about just yet. So it's kind of interesting they've got that double flow going as well. Like, we won't hear anything about this game, whatever Corey's doing, until God of War Ragnarok is launched, right? That is pretty much a given at this point, unless Sony plan on doing something absolutely crazy. Like, we probably won't hear anything about it until God of War Ragnarok drops, which we don't know when that's going to be still, which is outright absurd as well. Like, a release window would be nice, like, fall 2022 or something.
A year.
Exactly, yeah. Like, we just got 2022 still, which is just... Okay, great.
But also, if you want to really dive into what Corey said, he said things that he is working on. Not a thing, things. So, I'm calling it right here. Santa Monica is working on 2 other unannounced games.
Already than Marvel as well.
I mean, everything's Marvel now these days, right?
That's true.
Daredevil.
Talking about Marvel, actually, before we go back to that, do you think that
it's time for another Deadpool? Sorry, Ben.
Yeah, it is. But do you think that Wolverine and Spider-Man? Do you think they're trying to craft like an Insomniac Marvel verse or something?
Well,
they're just building up now. Wolverine, Spider-Man. I kind of feel Daredevil, stuff like that, and then finally, Marvel's The Avengers.
Oh, that would be classic to take the title from the Square game. That would be genius.
the Avengerers, now better. But yeah, I mean, that is kind of us talking about everything that was shown at the show. But I have to say, for my part, it was just kind of exactly what I expected. It didn't go over or under my expectations. We got some third-party announcements and updates on third-party games. We got some announcements from first-party and mostly slight updates. But what do you think, Eric? Was it all that you hoped for and more, or?
I really enjoyed it because it shows what Sony has in store for us, both in the near term and in the future, with 2023 and, like Ben said, like probably maybe 2024 with Wolverine. So I really enjoyed this show. It was a nice little end, let's call it, for the summer game announcements.
I agree. I think it was a good show. I do think, and I sort of understand why that batch of trailers in the middle were put there, but like, there's certain trailers in there that I feel like just didn't need to be there, right? And I don't think that it directly impacted the show that much, but I don't feel like I learned anything about Ghostwire. I don't think we found anything new about Deathloop that we didn't already know. I don't understand why they're there. I get why they're there. You know, Bethesda wants to be part of the showcase. They want to show something. Sony wants to bring as many people in as possible. I get that. But at the same time, it's sort of... You start off real strong, Star Wars, all these different things, and then it's like 20 minutes of, is this going to happen? And then we get all the Sony Interactive Entertainment stuff that's really exciting. So I think it was a good... I think in general, though, pretty good show.
Yeah, it didn't lack too much, I think. But yeah, there's one thing that I didn't mention quite intentionally, but I'll mention it anyway. They showed off GTA 5. Actually, I thought that GTA 5 was like the opening where they showed, play has no limits. I was kind of joking around, that is actual gameplay from the PS5 version of GTA 5. But no, then they showed a trailer for GTA 5, which is, by the way, delayed, I guess, officially for PS5, coming out next year now.
And Xbox Series.
Yeah, coming early next year. Just in the trailer, when they were showing off some of the features, and it was like instant switching between characters. Like, yeah, we already had that. Enjoy GTA Online. Yeah, we've had that since. And yeah,
it is such a letdown what they're doing with this, because when did GTA 5 come out at this point? 2013, right? It's like 8 years old at this point.
Yeah, it's a three generation game. PS3, PS4, and then PS5, and same with Xbox.
How wasn't this ready for the new console launch? Rockstar's a big studio, right? They do a lot of games, a lot of really good games. How wasn't this ready for the new console launch? I don't know what's been going on with this. I can't for the life of me figure out why it's been delayed again. Because if it's not coming this year, then GTA 6 won't be landing before, 2025 at this point? It just makes me less and less and less interested about the new gen GTA 5 each time I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking they're making bank on GTA Online on PS4. So why focus on getting the game onto PS? Oh yeah, exactly that. That's why, because they would be making even more money on the PS5 with GTA Online. But I don't want to talk about GTA 5 anymore.
But one kind of fascinating thing about that is now the rumored, basically leaked, GTA 3 remasters. I'm almost starting to wonder if they decided to delay this to avoid those landing on top of each other, because like you said, Dory, put GTA on anything, throw money at it. So just release those remasters. GTA 3, I think it came, what was it? October 21st, I think, 2001.
Something like that, yeah.
So release the remasters on October 21st this year, a bit too close to the November 11th. And again, GTA and Skyrim Anniversary Edition would have met on November 11th. Very scary. So they might just have done it to just avoid now the crunch talk again and give some more space and avoid Skyrim and stuff like that.
That is actually a very, very rational argument, and now that's canon. That's what I now believe. We're gonna end the stream here, but first I have to highlight this comment here from Ligifoxen on Twitch, which I think is hilarious. Will Daredevil be a black screen with sole focus on 3D audio and haptic feedback?
Oh, that would be genius. Oh, I'd love that, but I'd also love to see the backlash for that. Oh, that'd be genius.
Oh, that would be amazing. And with that,
the haptic feedback would be great, though. There's that. They'd have to do that a while, really well. So,
yeah. But yeah, with that, we say our farewells. All of you who were banking on seeing a PS5 Slim, collect your tears, I guess, because there's a while until that might happen. But the show was okay. 8 out of 10, something like that. I'd agree. Yeah, it was what I expected. Didn't exceed expectations, but. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining, guys. And of course, make sure to tune in to Game Reactor Live every single weekday and Saturday at 1600 hours to 1800 hours Central European Time. All your local gaming news, reviews, previews, etc. are available on your local Game Reactor domain of choice. And that's the end of the shilling. I will see you next time. Bye.